I could see this pattern where there's so many business owners that have just gone into business, this dream of being a business owner, and it is the biggest nightmare that they're living day on day after day. And it's not the way it should be. You shouldn't have to be stressing about how I'm going to pay the GST bill that comes up from lodging your BAS. Or you shouldn't have to worry about that I've paid myself too much and we can't afford the taxes on it. You shouldn't have to worry about all that stuff. Hey guys, it's Nathan Rickney here, the Profit Generator, and I am coming from Thailand, doing my podcast here from Thailand in Koh Lark in our resort, and it's about 7:30 in the morning, so it's nice and quiet, and you can just probably hear in the background there the sound of the waves crashing on the beach, and you can see the beautiful background here with some beautiful blue skies. It's great to be here. So yeah, it's a family holiday for Carly, myself and the kids, Cooper and Maddie, and yeah, we've wanted to come to Thailand because A, it was somewhere overseas and we had done a few different other small holidays, but we wanted something a little bit more, bit bigger, that was going to give us a little bit more of an experience of different cultures, different food, and plus for Carly and I, we came here to Thailand for our honeymoon just under 10 years ago. For us, we just really wanted to get back here and see what it was like, and just to give our kids the same experience that we had years ago, and just the little simple things. I remember when we went to Koh Samui all those years ago and sitting on the beach there eating the best food, like the best tasting pineapple, the best banana fritters, and just really wanted to give the kids that experience. And to be a little bit selfish, I also wanted to come back and experience that for myself because it was just amazing. And there's so much that Thailand has to offer apart from different cultures, and even the street culture of the different markets and people trying to sell you suits that you don't want or shirts. Like, it's really quite funny, but even for the kids to experience that and just to get to that point to them that they just can't, they're going to be aware of the different surroundings that they have. But yeah, I mean, there's so much to see and do here, from the elephant sanctuary. You get to feed the elephants and see these beautiful creatures, and just getting out there and seeing different sort of atmosphere, I guess the different, everything that just looks so different, like the trees and what have you, but so much to do and see here. So I've been running an accounting practice for just over 10 years now, and I've also been an accountant for about 25. And the one pattern that I've seen constantly in 25 years is that with our business clients, there are some who are really successful, and what does that winning success look like? And usually these people who are quite successful, there's no debt, there's no crisis around how I'm going to pay the BAS, there's no crisis around how am I going to pay the credit card, or there's no crisis around, oh, I'm not making any money. But the pattern that I've seen quite a bit over the years is businesses that are in constant crisis. And whether they know it or not, maybe they're actually, I'd say that for a lot of people in business that are in crisis, they don't even realize that they are in crisis. But I could see this pattern where there's so many business owners that have just gone into business, this dream of being a business owner, and it is the biggest nightmare that they're living day on day after day. And it's not the way it should be. You shouldn't have to be stressing about how I'm going to pay the GST bill that comes up from lodging your BAS. Or you shouldn't have to worry about that I've paid myself too much and we can't afford the taxes on it. You shouldn't have to worry about all that stuff. But then also, most importantly, not having a profit at the end. And for me, the pattern that I have seen quite a lot is that there are a lot of business owners where they're not focused on having a profit in their business. There's no real focus, there's no real sort of engineering behind, this is how much money we're going to make and this is how much I'm going to get paid. It's, I pay myself, I pay all the expenses, and then at the end I hope there's enough money left over as profit. But usually what it is, it's like they do all of that and then you can't even afford to, there's not enough money left over, so what you are is you're indebted to suppliers, creditors, the AT, you can't pay your staff super, you can't even pay your own super. It's not going to be great for when you retire one day and there's no super in your super fund. So that's the one constant that I've seen, is that one pattern. The pattern has been going for 25 years, and I suggest that it's been going for a lot longer. But the good news is that I have seen that the pattern can be broken and businesses can be profitable. The key is that you need to, as a business owner, you need to have a focus on actually deriving a profit and really wanting it as well. and accepting that you can do it. So for me, a few years ago, I read this book by Mike Michalowicz called Profit First. And the premise behind this book was basically a set of guidelines and principles, like a framework, on how a business could be profitable. And I would describe it two pieces. First of all, there's the framework. Profit First is about basically saying the cash that comes into my business, we're going to distribute it between profit, paying like a percentage for profit, percentage for owners pay, a percentage for taxes, and then a predetermined percentage on expenses. Right? It means basically, hey, we're allocating our funds for different functions of the business. The second piece that's really important about Profit First is the human behavior, the psychology behind controlling human behaviors. And so by that, whilst we're allocating money to different bank accounts, we also need to make sure that when times are tough, you don't ruin or don't go step outside of that framework. So once I'd found Profit First, I knew that it was a winner. I knew that it was something that I wanted to share with my clients. And Mike Michalowicz, who wrote the Profit First book, he did develop a course for those who are accountants, bookkeepers, and coaches to undergo professional training so that you can help implement Profit First for those who really want to do it. Mike did write Profit First as a DIY sort of system that you can implement yourself. He also understood that Profit First is better implemented when you have someone along your side to support you. Mike did develop a course where you could essentially become a Profit First professional, undergo proper training to ensure that you could best help clients. So that's how I became a Profit First professional. So for me, as a business owner, I believe that you should be able to pay yourself what you're worth, and you should be making a profit, and business should be something that you enjoy turning up to. It shouldn't be an ongoing crisis all the time. And if it is, it's not great. You've got to ask yourself why you want to do that. For me, I've basically undergone the Profit First training, and I've really wanted to get to this point where I'm helping my clients become no longer sitting in SME poverty. I don't want them sitting in constant crisis, whether they know it or not. I really did, for me, I just want to help my clients be the best business owners they can be. So some of the highlights of just being here at Kolark have been, for me, I've really liked the tuk-tuks as well. They've been pretty cool. So there's different type of tuk-tuks that are around, and there's ones that just get you from point A to point B, where it's really like a ute with basically bench seats in the back of the ute, of the tray. But the really fancy ones, there's some really fancy ones where they've got music and lights, and some have really stepped it up where it is just absolute comfort in a tuk. And we got in touch actually with one of my clients who came here recently. He gave me a number of a really cool tuk driver, and it was a husband and wife team. You get in there, you can connect your phone to their Bluetooth, and you can play whatever music you want, and you're going through the streets of Kolark down here at Thailand. And just playing your music, and it's just really loud, lights are everywhere, lights are flashing. It's just almost having your own nightclub on wheels. That was pretty cool. I gotta say, that was awesome. And I think what I most respected about that was business owners. They saw that, hey, we needed to stand out, needed to do something different. How can we be entertaining? How can we be more than just getting you from point A to point B? How can we provide a memory that our customer is going to want, but then also come back? So for us, every time we were going to go out of the resort, we would let the driver know that we wanted to go out, and he would go pick us up, and then he'd also come pick us back up from wherever we went to. It wasn't just about a lift. We formed a relationship with this guy for a very short period of time, but it meant that instead of just getting one lift, he probably got out of us about 4 return trips to different places we were going throughout the week. And it was great because it was just a fun way to get from wherever we wanted to go to. That was a really good memory for me, but just a lot of respect as a business owner. And I think it's really understanding your customer. It's all about having a good time. It's family time. This is why you come away on holidays. Don't know, would the same thing work back home if you had an Uber driver that just had the best car? Maybe it would, I don't know. But I just think for here it worked really well, and it meant that he stood out and he provided a really good service that we kept coming back for. So there was a lot of respect for that, and we just really loved being able to use him. Great service as well, just even being very thankful that we were using a local company and a local business and supporting them. So yeah, that was a good highlight for me. So as a business owner, you need 2 things to be able to go away on a holiday. First one is money, second one is the time to be able to go away. right? So when I talk about time being able to go away, is your business going to continue operating whilst you're not there? Or if you're a sole entrepreneur, can you stop and can the business afford for you to be away? So what extra cash do you need to put aside? For me, this holiday has been a reality and has been able to happen because of Profit First. With the Profit First system, being able to actually put money aside for reward. So Profit First has really got me to give us the ability to have some really good times as a family. Going on holiday, okay, so why did we choose Thailand? It wasn't so much whether it was Thailand. Thailand has some great things, and I did mention earlier in the video some great things that attracted us to actually come here. But for us, it could have been any overseas holiday. But the thing with Thailand as well is that it really did also fit into our budget. So being very conscious about, it's about finding a great location, but also conscious of what we can afford. Thailand did fit into that for us. So yeah, this has been a great experience for us. The food's fantastic, and generally our kids have got to see different things. The markets are fantastic, and just seeing different beaches, and especially like when we got on some of the island tours we did, seeing some beautiful aqua blue beaches. This is not stuff that you see every day. And even when we went to these islands, being able to swim with the most beautiful fish, and the highlight was being able to actually swim with turtles, an actual turtle, and it actually swimming past us. It's just a great experience. And if I go back and just reflect on the challenges that could have been a bit out of reach and not being able to get this holiday to actually happen, if we did have cash flow issues and lack of savings, we wouldn't have got here. But Profit First has got us here in ways that you'd never believe. Before I implemented Profit First, there was no way that I would have been able to have that spare cash available to afford a holiday or even the time to leave the office. And it sounds horrible that like an accountant would not have available cash to go for a week away on holiday. But the honest truth is that before Profit First, there was a point there where I was taking too much cash out of the business and I was personally spending it, not thinking about upcoming bills or the financial commitments that we have. Even though I can read a profit and loss and a balance sheet, and I have the right experience to understand all that stuff, it didn't stop the human behavior of me getting into this bad financial habit, this bad behavior of thinking the cash that was in the bank was mine to spend and having no regard about the future of the money that the business is going to need. So when the bills came in, I had no cash available because I'd spent it all. And I think for me, that is the most embarrassing piece before I implemented Profit First. The most embarrassing piece for me was that when it came to paying the BAS, I didn't have the cash there. And then having to, you know, call the ATO and say, hey, can I have extra time to pay my BAS because I had spent it on other stuff. The one thing is you've got to understand is that when it comes to debt, the only way to pay debt is from profit. When we look at debt, it means that you spend more money than the business can afford. And when I'm talking about debt, I'm talking about short-term debt. I'm not talking about car loans or paying off maybe equipment. I'm talking about short-term debts that you should be able to pay, you know, in the day-to-day form of you running your business. The only way, if you want to repay back that debt, or in the case that for me, was that I needed to make more profit. And the profit that I had made was then being used to pay off those debts. So there was a few things I needed to do. I need to increase my profit to actually pay off debt. But that was as simple as basically to start with just cutting down expenses. That meant I had to pay myself less. So I had to pay myself less, take less cash out of the business and put it towards my ATO debt. It also meant looking at the expenses within the business and saying we don't need to spend this or that, right? And for me, luckily, and I think because I have an experience of accounting and being a bit more rounded around financial numbers, but also the way I felt when I was in debt to the ATO was a really quick lesson learned. And in a really short period of time, I did recover. But it highlighted to me how easy it was to lose control and find yourself in an unfavorable position. And if I go back to earlier, so many business owners I've seen that have this pattern where they find themselves in debt. And what ultimately happens is that the debt gets bigger and bigger. But how lucky I was to be in a spot where I could see that was an unfavorable position and could highlight it and go, I don't like that, I'm not comfortable with it. For a lot of business owners, the pattern that I've seen is that they don't see that. It could be that subconsciously they just don't want to acknowledge it. They know about it, but it's just not enough pain there to do anything about it. and it's just easier to ignore the problem and hope that the problem will disappear. And there is a certain point where the problem, when it gets so big, it's like the analogy of a balloon that keeps getting filled with air. Eventually that balloon is going to pop. And it's the same with business. Don't be the balloon with so much air in it that you've ignored all your financial problems and then you explode. And because the explosion is going to be 10 times more uncomfortable than it is currently dealing with the discomfort you're possibly in now. So acknowledging the problem is really important of where you're at. The one big key takeaway that you need to consider is, if you want a business that serves you and that you're not a slave to it, you got to understand that all these wonderful changes that you see in a successful business owner, whether it's myself or other people out there, that you need to understand that profit didn't come to them on a silver platter. It didn't come served to them just one day and like, hey, oh, got a great business. There's work that's got to be done behind it. But the key is that if you put the hard work in and you start and you put a focus on having a profitable business, you too will start to see changes, and you too will have a business that serves you and gives you the rewards that you deserve, just like a holiday like this. So for me in Profit First, what I do is I actually put 5% of my cash aside into a bank account. And of course, Profit First is all about basically distributing cash into different accounts. But for me, I put 5% in a profit account, and then every quarter, half of that bank balance gets paid to a personal bank account. And then as a family, we save that cash towards family holidays like this. One of the teachings in Profit First is about forced frugality. Forced frugality is about basically saying, how can I do the same thing for less? How can I achieve the same results but with less cash? And I'm going to give you a really good analogy, an example of forced frugality, and it's all based on this holiday. I do like credit cards, and when I say I like credit cards, can be a real advantage in business, but they come with great responsibility, because a credit card can get out of control, because in a lot of circumstances they give you a set amount of cash that you can spend. Now with my credit card, I always make sure that when I do my distributions of cash, that my credit card is always paid off. So that comes down to a lot of discipline in making sure that card comes to a zero balance for me every 2 weeks. And because I'm disciplined and that works for me, and as well, the credit card is actually quite handy in that a lot of businesses, that expenses I need to pay need to go through some form of collection. So whether that being like direct debit or via credit card, it works really well. But having that credit card as well, so I got an American Express, the Qantas business card, and for every $1 that I put on that card, I get 1.25 Qantas points. I guess where I'm going to is that this holiday, the flights to get here was because of just everyday expenses that I've put through the business. It's paid for the flights. It doesn't pay for your taxes, so maybe the flights to get here for a family of 4 was about $1,000. Return flight on Jetstar, $1,000. And something like a credit card is a really great way to build up points in your business so you can do wonderful holidays. But as well, at the same time, I want to tell you that you got to be very cautious about how you use a credit card as well, because it can get out of control. And if you're the type of person where you're really not quite disciplined, as much as there's that reward to get those points, it's probably not the best thing to do either, because it's probably going to land you in a lot worse trouble than what it's worth. But for me, using the American Express card has got us here, which meant we were able to have a great holiday. The other thing as well is that, like, when it comes to planning the holiday, we planned this holiday 9 months, and we had found a deal that was a great price to come here. I think it was about $2,000 for the week. But because we had planned what we wanted to do and worked backwards, it meant that we could plan out what we were going to do, how much we were going to spend, and really good planning also meant that we could have the holiday that our family deserved. For me, funding this holiday has been a combination of forced frugality with using credit card points, but it's also been the cash that I've had from my Profit First account. So that profit account has funded this holiday. And sure, you know, I've been doing Profit First now for about 4 years. Initially, when I started doing Profit First, the rewards that we had were actually quite small. It was smaller holidays, smaller family outings. But as the years have gone on, that profit account has got bigger, and it's rewarded us better holidays, just like this one here. I just haven't implemented Profit First and was like, wow, I've got these great holidays. It's something that I've built. It's like a muscle. You go to the gym and you do weights. Gradually you get stronger and stronger. And as you keep putting a weight session into action, you find as you go along that you can lift more and more. It's the same with Profit First. As you keep practicing and implementing Profit First, you get stronger, you get more money, you get bigger profits. Same with us. Go back to the analogy is that basically we started with small holidays. We would go to Nelson's Bay, and I love Nelson's Bay, but it's not the same as coming to Thailand, coming overseas. It's Profit First. It's something that has been developed over time and is now the rewards as we keep going along, the rewards keep getting bigger and bigger. So we've had some great experiences here on the holiday and so much to see, so much to do, and the history of Thailand and their culture there's been some great highlights. Being able to see and learn more about how Thailand works. Some of the history and some of the stuff I have learned, like I learned that our tour guide the other day said that he couldn't join the military and he was very thankful that he couldn't get in because he was too short. There you go, there's a benefit of being anyone who's out there who's short. But going to the turtle sanctuary, seeing how the royal family's doing their bit to conserve nature and the turtles. The guided tour, taking us on bamboo rafting was great. Going along the river there, and in the trees there was snakes. Carly did freak out after I told her that in the trees later on that there were snakes just hanging there. They could have dropped at any point. We're on a speedboat to go from the mainland here to some of the islands and getting out there and seeing some of the most beautiful landscapes, but just also meeting local people in business and seeing how they're doing their bit. Just like us in Australia, they're no different really at the end of the day. Running a business and really just trying to pay themselves a good salary and then having something at home to give back to their family and just have a prosperous life. Profit First got us here. Profit First is what got us here to have this amazing family holiday. And the question that you guys need to really ask yourself is, if your business is not giving you the rewards that you want, will your business allow you to do it? Can you pay yourself or afford a holiday experience just like this? And just like I saw this sign at one of the temples, and it basically read, and I think it really ties in so well with what we're talking about here, eat to live, don't live to eat. And it's such a true statement. And your business should be serving you, right? You should be turning up because it's serving you, it's paying you the wage that you deserve, and it's giving you the reward at the end. If your business today doesn't allow you to have fun adventures, like the holiday I've had to Thailand with my family, you need to ask yourself why. Why can't you? And if you want to get there and you want to do this, what do you need to change? What actions do you need to put into place? So if you want to have great holidays like this and you want to afford your family the experiences, but also you want to take away all those stresses that your business might be bringing you, and you want to implement something like Profit First, I encourage you to reach out and have a chat with me. First thing is, on my YouTube page there is a video where Mike presented an event for me, and he talks in about 40 minutes the Profit First system. Next thing is the audio book. Now the thing is, with all this sort of stuff, having a good coach person to help you implement it is key for success. And starting in the start of March 2025 next year, we're going to have a 6-week program that helps you implement Profit First. And I'm going to guide you through it, and in 6 weeks you can become permanently profitable just by implementing Profit First. And your business will be able to start to reward you for fantastic holidays like this. Well guys, that's the end of this podcast. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you've enjoyed seeing the background here where I'm at and some of the images that we've shared. Don't forget, get in touch. I'm always around to have a conversation about how you can change your business. Stay profitable, and let's go. See you guys.